Alright, so today we are looking at factorising. Now, factorising is where you're putting something back into brackets. So if it's the opposite of expanding, essentially. So if you've already looked at expanding, this is just working in the reverse order. So we're going to find something to pull outside and then put the rest back inside brackets. So this is kind of done in three parts. Firstly, we need to find the highest common factor between terms. Then we place this outside the bracket, and then we divide each term in the original question by what is outside the bracket, and then put it inside the bracket. So let's have a go at an example that explains these three steps. So, first off, find the highest common factor between terms. So, what can both of these be divided by? So, we look at the numbers. Well, both of those numbers can be divided by 5. Are there any letters in common? Nope. So the only thing that both of these can be divided by is 5. So the highest common factor is 5. Next we place it outside the brackets. Now you can see here I've left a gap here and a gap here for these two terms to slot in. Now it's not always going to be a plus in the middle there, but we will have a bit of a look later on. But just for this first example, I'm going to leave a plus in there to show that these two terms here are going to slot in here. Now step 3 is to divide each term by what is inside the bracket. So 15a divided by 5, so 15 divided by 5 is 3, so that means we have 3a inside our bracket. And 20b divided by 5, well that is 4b, and this would be your solution here. Let's have a look at a few more examples. So we're going to be factorising the following. Here's your first one, 6a plus 3c. Well, first step, find the highest common factor. They don't have any letters in common, but both of these can be divided by 3. We put it outside the brackets, and 6a divided by 3, well that's 2a, and 3c divided by c, well that's 1c, and remember we don't write the 1 in front of the c, so it's just c. Next one's a bit interesting. We've got no numbers in here, so we need to see if there are any letters in common. So whenever we're factorising, we also need to be looking for letters that are in common as well. So no, it doesn't have A in common, but it does have D in common, doesn't have E, but it does have F. So D and F are in common between both of these terms. So let's put D and F outside our bracket. Also note that these are all in alphabetical order. When we're writing algebra, remember things have to be in alphabetical order. So put DF outside our bracket. And if we divide this by DF, it's essentially just going to get rid of the DF. So put the brackets there, and that's just going to leave us with an AE. And if we get rid of the DF from here, well, by dividing it, that's going to give us BK, and that would be the answer for that one there. Now this one's a little bit different because it's got a minus. So from now on, in any of the questions, I'm going to stop putting this positive sign in here, and we'll need to figure it out at some point. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So what can both of these be divided by? Well, 12 and 8, their highest common factor is 4. And are there any letters in common? Yeah, they've both got a B in common. So the highest common factor is 4b. Next we put the brackets in, but this time I haven't put a sign in here because we're going to have to figure this out as we go. So 12 divided by 4, well that's 3. And if we divide the b, it's going to essentially cancel it out, which gives us 3a. So now we need to figure out the sign in between. Now you can already see if I go b divided by b, they're going to cancel out. So there's going to be no letter b here. But minus 8 divided by 4, well that's going to give us minus, and then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that's the answer for that one. Oh, this next one's a little bit different as well. So both of those can be divided by 5, but they also have an x in common as well. So the common factor, the highest common factor is 5x. Now 5x squared divided by 5x, well 5 divided by 5 is 1, and we don't really write that in algebra. And then x squared divided by x just leaves us with x. Now 25x divided by 5x, well 25 divided by 5 is 5, and x divided by x, well that's going to cancel out and make 1. So since 25 divided by 5 is positive, it's going to give us a positive 5 here. This final one is a bit more tricky because we've got two negatives here. So actually, part of the common factor that we have between these two terms is something that's negative. So there's going to be a negative outside the bracket. Now the only thing those two terms have in common is an a. So it's negative a that goes outside the bracket. Now negative 2ab divided by negative a, well, you can see this negative here is going to cancel out from the term. Now we're still going to have a 2 in there, and the a's are going to cancel out, so it's going to be 2b. Now negative a divided by negative a is going to give us, anything divided by itself is 1, and positive 1 in fact. So the answer is plus 1, and that's the answer to that question.